Austin Live and Local. This is live from the ATX. I am your host, as always, Brian Kern, joined by Trent. I have Rebecca here as well. We're also joined by Krish and two of his friends, Ryan and another Becca. They're in the studio, so you may hear from them or see them from time to time. I am here with Live from the ATX. We are kicking off another week. This is episode number 4, if you guys are keeping count. Episode number 4 that we've been in your lives, giving you guys a rundown of all the local Austin artists, brands, and events that you guys need to know, need to hear about. Should I have the microphone? I totally forgot about that.
That's fine.
No? All right, no microphone. Hey, we go on the cuff here. Doing it how we... No? Yep, doing microphone. And we're back with the microphone. Perfect. Improv. We're live. We don't edit here, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Kern again, live from the ATX. Got a lot to talk about today, guys. One of the most important things we're going to talk about are upcoming events that we have here in Austin, Texas. We obviously have South by Southwest. All of March is pretty much engulfed with South by Southwest stuff. If you guys aren't paying attention or haven't been tuning in, we have announced every week so far a different artist doing something with South by Southwest. That is what we are here to do. We are here to promote all the South by Southwest shows that are going on with the local Austin talent. If you haven't been paying attention, we've got Joaquin. He's going to be doing something during South by Southwest. It could be the new wave. It could be another big show with a couple of different features on it. He has a bunch of stuff that he has planned coming down the pipeline. Pop Life World, Dwan from Hurry Up and Buy Skate, and Pop Life said that she's also going to be attending South by, doing a couple different things with her brand out there, so we'll be seeing her. And last week, you got the exclusive drop of Jay Brook and Freshly performing live at the Nook March 17th during South by Southwest. They were here last week. They gave us some information about that show. They also gave us some information about another show that they're going to be doing up at the Gotham Room at Spinners March 3rd. Okay, that's where we initially did our first production, The Hideout, which was last November. Jay Brook and Freshly were one of the headliners there. They're going to be headlining their own show called The Blackout, being brought to you at the Gotham Room up at Spinners off 35 North Austin. They're going to have a whole black theme with black lights. They're going to have, I think, glow lights and like a bunch of different dancers and stuff going on there. It's a huge event that they're throwing March 3rd. That's going to be their pre-party to their March 17th South by Southwest performance at the Nook. For all you sports fans, we have UFC live from the Frank Irwin Center coming to you February 18th. All you MMA fans and all you fight fans, got that big event coming through. If you're not watching us, you're probably at the Joe Rogan comedy show at the Bass Concert Hall. It's the Bass Concert Hall, right? Yeah, that's where it's at. You guys are probably watching him if you're not watching this show. So I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. But yes, UFC is going to be here. That event is headlined by Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Nancy Medeiros. It's supposed to be a pretty good fight. 5 rounds in the lightweight division there. This Saturday, Austin Live and Local's very own, resident DJ Joaquin is going to be doing the New Wave like he does every single Saturday, but this one is a special edition New Wave. It's actually being turned into an art show. Austin Live and Local will be there live covering it, doing some live footage being shot out through our Instagram, through our Facebook, and through our other channels. So make sure to tune in and check that out if you're not going to be downtown attending it already. He's turning the entire inside of the Eastern venue that he plays at every Saturday into an interactive art show. He's going to have some painting from some local artists. He's going to have some merch up for sale, some vendors. So stay tuned for that. We've also got a bunch of guests coming at us in February. We're going to be joined by Mike Milano. We're going to be joined by G-Jet. We're going to be joined by Rue Music. We're also going to be joined by local actors Rashawn Valentine and Matt Whistle. They're 2 actors that are actually going to be a part of a live series that's going to be streamed up here leading up to South by Southwest. They're going to be taking part in that, and then it's actually going to debut at one of the film fest premieres there. So we're going to be having him in the studio before South by. That's going to be a lot of fun. And that's about it. Oh, our first event of the year. Our first event of 2018 is coming to you guys live in March. It is called the Swap Meet. The Swap Meet is going to be awesome. End of March, beginning of April. It's going to be a springtime event. It's going to follow South by Southwest. It's our take on a shoe show. We're joining up with a bunch of local companies and a bunch of local vendors out here, and we're going to be basically having an interactive shoe show / fashion show. It's going to be called the Swap Meet, beginning of April, end of March, springtime. We're going to be having local vendors out there. We're going to have local artists, and the biggest, obviously, selling point of the entire show is going to be shoes. It's going to be a buy, sell, and trade event. So people are going to be showing up, stacks of shoes on top stacks of shoes on top of stacks of shoes. It's going to be crazy. We got a bunch of different special giveaways that we're going to be doing. Some secrets that we're keeping under wraps until closer to the event, but it's going to be a pretty big deal. We're hoping to incorporate a lot of local companies. And yeah, if you are a shoe head, a sneaker head, and want to get involved, get in touch with us. You can definitely show up, Bring your shoes, bring whatever you got, buy, sell, trade event. It's going to be off the hook. What else do we got to talk about? I think that's it, right?
Let's get into it.
Keeping it simple. We're going to get into it. Our guest tonight, his name is Krish. He is a new artist out here to the Austin, Texas area. He's doing something really unique, bringing a whole new style to the Austin scene, a whole new genre of music that's not real prevalent in this type of unique fashion and dynamic. So it's really cool that we have him here in the studio with us. He's also bringing you new tracks, probably more than any local artist is bringing you new tracks right now. So it's actually something that he's going to be talking about. That's one of the highlights that he's working on right now. So we're going to bring that to you guys right now with the interview. Krish. And we are sitting down with Goku. I have to say that your name is Goku for anybody that's wondering. Yeah. And you have confirmed it's like Dragon Ball Z, which is... And is there a reason that they named you that? What was the reason? It's not Dragon Ball Z, is it?
No, it's not.
Why did they give you that name?
I get this question a lot.
I hope so.
Almost everyone I meet, they say Goku. It's crazy.
Yep.
But,
it's unique. It's a unique name, and the only way you could really associate it with anything is Dragon Ball Z.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, but my parents are from India, so they named me Goku Krish.
Oh, okay.
So that sort of is where my artist name came from. I'm called Krish, so that's just the second half of my name. I never used it when I was little. It was just always that part of my name that I was just like, all right, like.
I mean, it's got a ring to it. It definitely works, I think.
Yeah, I think it works, and everyone. That's why I'm called Goku, because Goku is what I was called throughout middle school, high school, college, and then just decided, hey, now that I'm pursuing music, let's move away from Goku and only Dragon Ball Z and think about like.
Yeah, you know? That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. I guess you could have done like a unique thing with it, but yeah, people were going to associate Dragon Ball with it regardless.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like young Krish, little Krish, especially this wave of like little.
Can't be young Goku or little Goku because then there's too many jokes that could be set up.
Yeah.
Too much nonsense.
So we got some background on you before. I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but what brought you out to Austin?
I actually graduated from the University of Michigan, and I got a job down here. And I was like, I also heard that Austin was a live music capital of the world. So I was like, all right, well, I'm super into music. I've sang my entire life. And
from Michigan, your whole life, right?
Yeah, my entire life in Michigan. And I was like, all right, if I'm gonna move somewhere and pursue music, this is the place to pursue music. And I had different places I could have gone. I could have gone to Chicago, could have gone to New York, but like. Austin, the weather's awesome. The music is awesome. The food is delicious, and like.
So, are you from Canton or Ann Arbor?
So I grew up when I was little in Canton, and then I was. It's very close to Ann Arbor, so I just say Ann Arbor to everyone who's not from Michigan. Okay. And then I moved to Troy for like high school, the second half of high school. So I'm mainly from Ann Arbor, like near the Michigan area.
So when did you pick up singing, and did you do any studying before when you were younger?
So. That's funny because Ryan actually asked me like when did you start singing? Like I started singing when I was like in 4th, 2nd, 3rd grade, and I actually sang Indian Carnatic music. So that's like like classical Indian music. Yeah. My parents used to just take me to classes. I hated it. I was like, oh, why am I doing this?
Right.
I used to go every Sunday to this old auntie's house, and it was hilarious. And yeah, I mean, I stopped for a while, and then all of a sudden in high school, like I was just thrown into this like choir group, and then all of a sudden they were like, "You can sing," and I was like, "I can sing." And
yeah, you can sing.
And then it happened. So yeah.
Dude, you have an awesome voice. It's very unique too. I think that it fits the kind of style that you're putting out. And so, when did you get in? How did your style kind of evolve? Like you obviously started off with that style of music, that style of singing. How did it evolve into more of what you're doing now?
It evolved. So I was in this a cappella group my freshman year of college.
That's unique, actually, an a cappella group.
And that in that group we did a ton of different types of music, and especially we did Indian music, but we also did a lot of like like American music from like the 90s and 2000s.
Like R&B or
Yeah, sort of like
okay.
R&B. So like
All right.
that's sort of fashioned me to go towards like the more hip hop scene and R&B scene. I've always been interested in like in high school and college, my favorite artists were like Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
like, Lil
so,
Wayne
okay.
2000s was legendary.
He was actually
No, not yet.
And Drake obviously, and just that entire wave was when I was young, so that I like idolized all of them.
So you say some of your influence would be like Drake or The Weeknd, because I definitely hear The Weeknd in your some of your tracks.
Yeah.
So more of a northeastern style vibe, or more of a northwestern?
I would say northeastern. More.
Northeastern.
Yeah.
So what got, I guess, where did those influences come from? And you said prior to we got into this interview that you kind of like admire hip hop artists from Detroit, which would be like Big Sean or
T Grizzly.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of God damn it, what's his name?
Doughboy's Cash Out.
Yeah, those type of artists. I mean, Eminem, of course,
yeah.
from the area. I'm thinking of somebody else. I mean, Danny Brown.
Danny Brown, Kid Rock, like a lot of them.
Yeah.
Kid Rock. I know. I was gonna say Eminem, but I didn't think you were going that route. That was more of an obvious one. Oh,
Jay
okay.
Dilla. And I mean, Jay Dilla would probably be the foundation of hip hop in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what do you, how far does your history go back as far as hip hop? And then how does that influence your music?
I'm gonna be honest with you, it doesn't go that far back.
Okay.
Because I started like really getting into music more towards high school rather than like before then I was like really into honestly like gaming. Like I was like this little gamer kid, and then I was like, all right, like I really love music. And
How old are you? You mind me asking?
I'm 22 right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean Big Sean was a huge influence, and because that was like Finally Famous, that album was huge. Like that's when he came out and Detroit was put on the map again after Eminem, of course. But like and especially hearing how Big Sean and Kanye all that happened at the beginning, where he like just came up to Kanye and started rapping. That was like vaulted his career to the top. Like that's crazy, and that's one of my influences too. Because I honestly, when I'm stuck and I don't know what to do, I've listened to Big Sean's Finally Famous. Okay. Like 100 Keys. That's one of the songs I just go to.
Yeah.
It's a great album.
That's interesting. The gaming aspect's interesting too. We can talk a lot. We're going to talk a lot.
GameCube was my shit.
What made you, I mean, drawn from those influences, what's given you kind of like your electronic style too? Like and you also mentioned too prior to this interview that you don't have a team, it's all you, and you're kind of learning as you go along. So what's drawn you to kind of put out this sound, and why haven't you kind of dabbled in more hip hop? You're adding some rap elements to what you're putting out now, but not much.
You got four tracks out so far on the Thursday mix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which one is it that you're rapping on? I don't remember the title.
The first one's Phantom, the second one's Lifted, and the third one's
you weren't rapping on Lifted.
No,
I wasn't. That was my boy.
Right. Yeah. I thought it was. It sounded like you. I thought it was you for a second. Yeah.
It was my boy. His name's artist name is Baba, but he's from Hamtramck, which is this town near.
Oh, okay. That's who you were talking about.
Town
right.
Detroit.
Yeah,
and he's a homie because he's 2 years older than me at Michigan, and he used to put me on at Michigan, and then I was like, yo, and I knew he rapped, and he always like, yo, if you ever get me in the studio, like let's collab, and I was like, all right, let's do it, and then over New Year's we just did it, and it was dope.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I liked how it turned out.
Yeah, no, they've all been good. So back to the original question, that kind of style, what's pushing you as you're learning and as you're progressing and you're in writing your music? What's pushing you along that style?
Just my admiration for artists like The Weeknd, like not his recent albums, more or less his like trilogy. Right. If you know like that 54 song, I don't know how many songs, maybe like 30, but like there's 3 parts of the trilogy, and obviously, and that's what really influenced me at the beginning. And now that like, also like Russ, he influences me. There's like. It's all these new artists, but it's not like the mumble rap and like the Lil Pump and all of them. That's not my style, but like mine's like Bryson Tiller Like I like that because I can sing more than I can rap, and I don't like that's what I'm aiming for.
And you can sing.
Yeah.
Like
I get a Khalid vibe, even though it's not along the same lines. He he fits into the rap genre and the hip hop genre, but he is more laid back. He is more singy. He is more vocal.
Well,
and I feel like you can fit into that,
cool.
especially with your collabs. If you had people rapping with you, you're gonna fit.
And rolling off of that, what inspired you to get into production?
I just wanted to put out tracks, and I was like, nobody's gonna like I'm not gonna pay for this for someone else to do it, and then me not be happy with it because I've had tracks done for me in college, and I just like that's what transitioned me into doing it all myself. I had my boy, he actually produced the first 2 tracks. His name's Vlad Duchamp. We call him JoJo, but like he's the one who made the beats and he produced everything for me, and I was like, all right, I fuck with it. Yeah, but like I'm just a perfectionist myself, and I want everything to be how I want it to be. Unfortunately, like on my own vocals, and like I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna get into it and see what I can do with it. Right. And that's when I just started learning. I just started like.
Well, what I like about your tracks is that your vocals don't necessarily match the emotion of the beat, which is interesting because the beat is much heavier, and your emotions are a little bit contrasting in one way, but it's a good marriage. It's a very good marriage in that it's that new. To me, it's the new trend. It's the Lil Peeps of the world. It's the more darker, more emotional side of hip hop. And I follow along that sort of hip hop line because it's more organic. It's more authentic.
Yeah. So where does the lyrical content come from? Where are you drawing a lot of the lyrical content you're bringing in?
A lot of the lyrical content is just from honestly what I've gone through in college and my daily life. Okay. Because like that's where I get most of my motivation from. Like everything that I've gone through, from like deciding like where to go after school to like what I'm doing now. It's just like I have to explain myself somehow, and that's how I'm doing it through music. Right. Like this last track, Lost, was like more about like me deciding like am I lost, like what am I doing right now, like am I gonna like let's get somewhere, and like that's sort of one of the reasons why I wrote that track. And it's I mean that's where writing my music and the melodies, I've always been like really good at writing melodies and hooks. Like I've just always thought of like something that will go with the beat at all times, usually ever since I was little. But like now that the songwriting, I'm focusing more on the songwriting. That's like the tough part for me. Right. But like I still enjoy it. Like I'm like improving every day, and that's what I'm like aiming to get really good at.
No, like I said to you earlier, like I'm personally, I enjoy the riffs on your songs. They're more abstract. Don't fit with the beat. Say fuck the beat. This is how I'm gonna go with it. Yeah. I enjoy that more. You know, with like a Black. You know. Yeah. I enjoy Black. Because it doesn't fit.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good comparison too. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. You know, the Lil Peep, Black. If you put both those together, it's dope.
I just need dreads now.
Well, Lil Peep didn't have dreads.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking Lil Pump. Yeah, Lil Peep. Lil Peep's good. Yeah. I listen to his R.I.P.
Like, R.I.P. is what we've been saying.
Beamer Boy. Whew, that was big in junior year in my college. Like that was me and my roommate at the time were just bumping that for a long time.
Right. I know you mentioned you're not into the mumble rap, but I mean, do you see an opportunity there to kind of bring in that style? Because there is a genre where kind of blends that mumble rap with the more instrumental kind of laid back sound and style, like you'd get from a Black or you get from a Khalid or like the artists we're talking about. Do you see an opportunity there? Like you may not personally be into it, but do you see an opportunity to collab with someone that's maybe coming up in the scene that's part of that?
Yeah, definitely. Style? Because honestly, I'm open to it, and because music, in my opinion, you got to go through it and you got to make it before you judge it. You know? Right. Because like you never know what's gonna pop with somebody until they actually make the track. Makes it, produce it, and once that happens, I'm open to anything. Like if I can make that sound dope, then I'm gonna fucking release it. Like I don't care. Right. I don't care if it's mumble rap, if it's like opera, like that. If it's that dope to listen to, I'm gonna release it. Okay. No, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Lil Peep's like that emo type of vibe too. I don't know if I'm more of like that, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think it could probably fit.
Like I feel you on like the.
I meant more along the lines of the rhythm. It does have a harmony, and it does have a little more of what people are listening to outside the genre.
I feel you because
like a sing along vibe almost, like kind of get stuck in your head.
Well, that whole clique out there, Lil Peep, Tracy,
Lil
all
Tracy,
of them have their own style.
Yeah,
and I would see like what you're doing kind of be along the same direction. Not necessarily the same. Obviously, they're pulling from different experiences. Your experiences are more from the Northeast, like you talked about before. But everybody's online these days, and I'd say that they came up from the exact same place you'll be coming up from.
Pulling from the same influences. Same different concepts. Yeah. Have you played any live shows? Are you doing anything live?
In college, I did, but I'm planning on doing. What I wanted to do was get more content out before I really did too many live shows.
So what's changed since you were in Michigan to now being in Austin? You said you moved back here in July, right?
Yeah.
So in the eight months you've been out here, what as far as your career's changed and maybe musically, style wise, if anything?
I've just been in college. I was really influenced, obviously, by my a cappella group that I did my freshman year of college, and that's honestly one of the reasons why, going back to you like saying it's not like the typical hook or typical melody. Like as a singer, I would do riffs and runs of like different notes that aren't normal. So like that's why I would go to that, and it'd sort of like not sound conventional.
Okay.
But
yeah, I talked to him about this before about number one, I didn't really talk to you about riffs, but I talked to you about his run, and that you can keep a note longer than the traditional. A lot of the singers that I hear are trash because they just don't have any breath control. You obviously have the breath control from the a cappella experience and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's invaluable for me because that's what got me into just pursuing music and producing and eventually just learning how to do everything by myself. And you asked me. What'd you ask me again?
So what's changed? I mean, you said that you played live when you were in Michigan. So stylistic, like from coming out to Austin to how everything was going for you while you were in Michigan. What's the difference? Like you said you came out to Austin because it's the live music capital of the world. You obviously saw it as an opportunity to kind of kick off something and get something going for yourself. So what's the difference between being out here and being in Michigan as far as your career goes?
Being more independent.
Okay.
In a way.
Yes.
You mentioned that too. You mentioned that you got no team.
Well, he's saying it, but I don't think he's really saying it. He was doing a cappella before, and now he's got a solo career.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I got that.
That's different. Being independent.
Yeah.
So he's pulled away from that. So you haven't done that many performances solo.
So this Krish thing only since you've been in Austin? Oh, okay. All right.
The Krish thing, I've always had people call me Krish whenever like I would do anything like artist wise. But the real Krish, like ever since I came to Austin, that's when I've fashioned it. Like I've made it into what it is now from Austin.
And I've noticed the records that follows on some of your tags. Are you doing like a label, or why Krish Records? Why not just Krish? What's behind that?
Krish I don't know, because I do everything by myself.
Right.
So like if someone else wants to come and have me record them, have me mix and master their tracks and produce for them. Yeah. I needed like a label,
and you're not trying to get draked and sweatshopped.
No.
I mean,
yeah, like Krish Records was the most logical thing to go with because it just clicked and it felt right, and I was like, all right, like I'm gonna go with Krish Records.
So that's interesting. What if someone approached you just to produce a track, not necessarily feature like your vocal abilities or your singing, or even you as as an individual being on the track? What if they were just like, hey, I need this mixed down and mastered? You do that for them, or you would do a production role just because you feel like you need to learn more and you need to be engaged as much as you can? Like, would you take your time, I guess, away of recording your own to mess with someone else's product?
So I would produce and mix and master a beat for them.
Yeah.
Their vocals, I don't know if I would, because I feel like vocal mixing and mastering is different because you need to follow what that artist wants, and I need to be around that artist for a long time to know what he likes.
Okay.
Because that's the only way you'll make something good. And like otherwise, It's just what you think it's good, and then if I do what I think is good, he's not gonna like it 100%.
Yeah.
That's why mixing engineers and mastering engineers are always, that you guys should know. It's like they're always paired with the artist. Like
Right.
Drake and 40.
Yeah.
Like they're almost always together because they know how each other wants to sound.
Well, I sort of agree with you.
No, because
having
people
seen the industry.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain artists like Britney Spears,
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Swift, who are mastered, mixed by probably everybody in
Yeah.
this fucking song.
They're,
So that song isn't just one draft, like, and boom, it's off,
No,
it's multiple.
it's like, especially for the tracks that I would be, I guess, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not pop.
No.
I'm more of like the hip hop, rap, R&B type of thing.
Yeah.
And like I feel like pop vocals would be more, like, I think more people could do it successfully rather than rap and hip hop. Because like, think about like Kendrick's stuff. Like Kendrick's stuff is so, like, he doesn't do too much, but it's so simple that it's so cool.
Right.
Like that's the thing, and the different things that he does with his voice, like that's what makes it good.
So you brought up Wayne earlier.
It's been itching Trent.
This new D6 Reloaded. Have you heard the 2 tracks that came out yet?
I have, but I haven't, like, maybe once, like in the passing.
Maybe once.
Really.
Well, it's interesting with having.
I heard he spit.
It's interesting having 2 tracks from Wayne, 2 tracks from Drake.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that? What do you think those that? How does that influence hip hop currently?
It shows that Drake is just killing it.
Drake?
Yeah, I mean, for Drake's side, Drake can put out. You saw the numbers already. Like Drake's like already the most streamed artist in the first day with God's what's it called, God's Hand.
Sorry Hours.
Scary Hours. Scary Hours. Name of the album,
No,
but God's Hand was the song.
Oh, it
is a song.
As a single, your song passing Taylor Swift on most streams on Spotify.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
Dang.
that's like he just dropped it, and all of a sudden, like that's Drake.
Yeah,
and Wayne just has bars on bars on bars.
Right.
Like he really just talks about a lot of the, like, he does vary a bit, but like he even said in a couple of interviews that he just talks about like girls a lot, and I agree. I like Lil Wayne like that.
Yeah,
he was on his peak.
I think more specifically, it's that you haven't heard from somebody, and he's addressing a lot of the ghostwriting. It seems like there's an issue in that camp.
The ghostwriting stuff.
Yeah, considering because a lot of the influence that Drake has comes from Wayne. Yeah,
I mean, the ghostwriting was 100% proven. Yeah, that's crazy because, I feel like Drake at that time. I'm not gonna make any excuses for him. He still should have done everything by himself. But
he's a corporation.
Yeah,
he built a corporation.
That is true.
And he just made it easy for anybody who wants to rap. You get a team that can write and put them together, and they write your tracks for you. And then, I'm pretty sure 40 does the exact same thing. Probably has a bunch of producers that work for him, and he's like, click, gives it to Drake.
Yeah, I mean,
it's probably, I don't know specifically.
Dude,
there's less talk about 40 than there is Drake.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel like 40 does a lot of work, in my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, Drake is obviously, the star. I mean, the face of the corporation.
I mean, but I think through and through, you kind of see how much the ghostwriter thing really mattered. I mean, you guys just talked about how he just surpassed Taylor Swift with the most streamed song ever, and it just came out. I mean, there's been... I think of lip syncing when this thing kind of comes up, like the ghostwriting thing, especially at least when in the metal, the band scene, happens all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think with hip hop, it is a little bit more personal, just because it's the artist that's coming out with it, and when you find out that the artist has a ghostwriter, it impacts it. But I mean, clearly, it hasn't tainted Drake's career. There's a little blimp on his if you look at it as a whole, there's a blimp. But I mean, it doesn't.
Clearly not.
Why does it resonate even now, though? I mean, it's past.
He's an alien. I mean, he's alien he's an alien. He's a goddamn alien.
Right.
Dude, because he just comes out with tracks that are hot, regardless.
It doesn't really profit America. It doesn't profit American hip-hop.
I mean, do you guys think he's any less of a artist? Are you less impacted by his music now, knowing that he has someone that writes for him?
Honestly, no.
I personally.
Who are you? Okay.
Because hip hop should be organic. I brought this up
That's
earlier. Organic and authentic. And if he has someone else writing for him, he's not thinking those thoughts. He's allowing the system.
But did he at any time ever come out and go, "This is what I feel, I'm writing this," and then it came out that he had a ghostwriter? So him saying, "Hey, these are my thoughts, these are my words, this is I know it's
implied." He came
implied.
back and addressed that issue.
I know
but
it's
his
implied,
bars didn't match up with what his sweatshop was doing. So that's the question. Charged Up was great,
right?
But it didn't address the fact that he was already writing.
And it wasn't Meek the one that started that whole ghostwriter thing, and that's kind of where the beef started. And everybody claimed Drake won that beef. Everybody kind of hands down said, "Hey, he won that."
Other people probably wrote that though, like Drake's comebacks.
But okay, knowing that he had a ghostwriter, people are still saying he won though. Yeah. People aren't going there, "Oh, hey, Drake didn't win that battle. His ghostwriters won it." No, people are still saying Drake won the battle.
Or
like the ghostwriter, it's a moot point at that point.
That or the journalists were getting sweatshopped.
I mean,
who's coming out saying Drake's trash at that time?
Like I remember when Back to Back. I remember when Back to Back came out.
He appeals to too many people.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing though? It's not a bad thing.
It's not too many, but like a lot more than the average.
Right, and then he's gonna have that already that core following that kind of exceeds other core followings. So he's already going to have like that extra support regardless of what people say or what comes out about him. But like when Back to Back came out, he was being accused of ghostwriting. Back to Back came out. It kind of shut Meek up for a second. Then the news ended up coming out that Drake had ghostwriters anyways, and he still won. You still gave him it. You know, it's at this point, you know, and now he's got the most streamed song on Spotify. So that little blimp didn't really have an adverse effect on his career, didn't long last. It hit him, but there wasn't a long lasting effect to where he's now deteriorated in any way. And he's still blowing up. But he's still putting out the hottest shit.
The only argument against that is he's not making it easier for other people to continue down that path.
Our guests are leaving. Thank you guys for coming into the studio and hanging out.
Thank you, Ryan.
Ryan and Becca are taking off. Thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Whereas like an artist like Jay-Z built a blueprint.
Right.
No pun intended. For other artists to follow along under that mantra.
Okay.
Drake's not doing that.
Right. Do you see Drake in 20 years having a career Jay-Z's had for 20 plus years? Probably not, right?
I don't.
That's just a different level. It's a different level. I think.
That is a different level, but Drake is getting there. He's putting out consistently successful tracks, regardless of whether
if it came out
or content
if it came out Jay-Z had some top secret lyricist writing his shit, or some of his shit. Right. Would it tarnish his legacy?
Yeah. That would definitely tarnish his legacy.
Would it though? Oh shit! What happened?
What do you mean?
My headphones went off. My headphones died out.
Probably gonna unplug.
Oh,
it's all good.
It would really.
Are you unplugged?
No, I'm good now. Yeah, we're good now. Like he just did that interview, admitted to cheating on Beyonce a bunch of times. People still love Jay-Z.
Well,
horrible person.
I think
people still love him.
Down a whole different path that I'm talking about. I'm saying he comes from a camp that told him don't do this shit.
Jay-Z or Drake?
Drake.
Mm-hmm.
He goes around.
Don't do what shit? What do you mean specific? What are you talking about?
Be authentic. I would say Wayne's authentic. I'd say Gutta is authentic.
Yeah. Young Money.
I'd say everybody under Young Money is authentic.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then to have an artist that's going to go out and he wasn't from hip hop. He's not hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
He's from the acting world.
Right.
To come into hip hop, imitate. This is an imitation game, right?
You know, that's a unique perspective. I didn't even think about that. To come in from acting and like be fake at it. I get where you're coming from. I get it. To be from acting to come into hip hop, take over. You took over. You came in. You made your statements. You took over.
Acting like?
No, but he was in Degrassi.
Like anything, he could act like the culture.
Okay.
You know what he's talking about. He was an actor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so. But I get where you're coming from. Like that is a thing.
Like,
you're coming in and you're making an impact, but you're not authentic about it.
Right.
Okay, and people are still giving you the respect as if it was authentic, as if you did come in and create a big old mess. I get it now. Okay.
That being said, that's not organic.
What isn't?
The attention that he's receiving is being given to him through the system.
I think it's safe to say that Drake's probably one of the artists that rode that cusp of like new marketing or new,
with the way off of YouTube.
He did, and with streaming services and like that whole and that's why he's blown up, because he rode that wave and just appealed to that crowd probably more effectively than like a JT. Do you like JT? You JT Lake fan? Justin Timberlake? I mean,
JT.
I love JT. Oh, you're talking about Bieber. I mean, same thing though. Yeah, same thing. He came up that whole era. They run it. I mean, nobody's beating him. You know,
What
he
was
could
it?
probably
I'm
come
Still
out and
Fly remix or something, and then best I ever had, and then it just started popping off.
Yeah, but there was at one point in time that I feel like he was way more connected at one point in time.
Oh yeah, So Far Gone, like all of that part.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But I was more thinking of like Underground Kings, where he was really connected to the Houston hip hop scene because he was following. He was inside. He was carrying the bag at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow, I don't know what the hell they did, but they put him in, I guess, the top 5 or whatever. And then like he just duplicated. If someone came out with something, came out with a new trend, he just duplicated
Drake?
and just add it, keep on adding it.
Talking about Drake.
And then imitate.
So what about Take Care? What do you imitate with Take Care? The Weeknd? The Weeknd was a huge influence on that.
Yeah, I don't know if you would, but that's on the. I don't know what about it would be on the hip hop side, on the strictly lyrical bar side,
yeah.
but melodies, runs, those type of things. Yeah, I would definitely say that came from the Weeknd. He was a writer, I believe. On
OVOXO, right?
Yeah.
So what do you guys feel about Lil Wayne? Like where does he fit into this? Him release in comparison to Drake's. You think it's better?
The issue is it's much larger it's a much larger issue with
where are they at too?
With C5 being locked up and not knowing what Scoob or Baby or Slim are all thinking about that album. It's hard to tell what's going on. That's I'm kind of left with all these other questions like where's C5 and why is it that Drake's putting out 2 tracks at the same time Wayne is, but then from the underground side, the 2 tracks that Drake put out were supposed to have Trippie Redd on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was supposed to be a bigger project, I think, and that's what's I guess kind of changes the dynamic of it all. But I don't know.
Why do you know why he took Trippie Redd off? I remember
he didn't take it off.
I read an article about that.
It wasn't that he took it off. It was because the DJ for Trippie Redd or the DJ, a DJ, played the Drake track in the club, and somebody got it on Snapchat or something like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Out,
yeah.
And then because that snippet was out, Drake's camp. I don't know if it was Drake specifically. Was like, send it off. You know what? Can't do anything about it. It's out now.
Wow.
Dang.
That's a dream. Just dropping a track in #1 on Spotify. I know what you mean, but no, with Drake being like sort of imitating what's popping at the time.
Well, he is entirely from the graphic design point. The album cover was ripped off.
Really?
From a tour poster of another artist, an unknown underground artist that one of the graphic designers probably just saw.
Who are you? What are you referring to?
I'd have to reference it.
No, but what are you referring to? What album?
The album cover for Scary Hours.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Yeah, the whole
the neon light thing or
no,
whatever it is.
the white bold lettering with the red
yeah,
on it.
Yeah.
That was
like vertical.
It's like Chicano lettering, I think.
Yeah, they like stagger it. It looks kind of like it's like an old type of lettering.
Yeah, or old, like not old English, but
calligraphy, kind of like
yeah,
a weird
definitely.
calligraphy
Sort of, yeah.
style. Cool.
And it was ripped off. But I mean, who knows? I mean, with everybody being able to do
sucks.
a
I
lot.
didn't even know that
Yeah.
he like if he's stealing shit. I don't know. That's weird. Like I mean he's doing his thing, but also if you're taking away from smaller artists,
A lot of people, some people are giving the benefit of the doubt is that he's at the point that, previous years, 10 years ago where Justin Timberlake was at or Britney Spears, where they were like so big that literally they just got recorded, got on a plane, left. They didn't do anything. Like they could probably not eat.
I feel like you were talking about the stealing thing. Like it kind of sucks for Drake to have a ghostwriter if he is stealing album artwork. But you gotta wonder, like, if he does have a camp, right, and he's got a bunch of people that he pulls.
That's a fact.
That he pulls ideas from, right. So he has a bunch of people that are on his team. He pulls ideas from. They're constantly sharing shit with him. Anybody that's in Drake's camp or that's on Drake's side is going to have a plethora of people hitting him up for whatever it may be. Who's to say one of Drake's friends doesn't come across a beat or a track that some kid tosses him, you know, and it's some kid with 100 followers or some crazy weird shit, has a cool hook to it.
Yeah.
He takes it, yo, Drake, check out this beat, dude. And then
Well,
maybe
we
the
know
kid
from now on he's not going to be like, oh, well, fuck, I'm just going to sign this without thinking.
Right,
now he's
right,
going to be
right.
like, whoa, hold up.
But I mean,
Double check, cross
it's-
check, little check.
it's gotten to that point because of the things that have come out, and maybe
Yeah.
he isn't doing things authentically. But at that point, who, you know, does Drake have to sit here and fact check everything that's brought to him now, or is he allowed
He
to sit
has
there
to.
and trust who's in his crew? And I really like this beat, man.
He's
you
too
know,
big.
You know, let's work on it together. Maybe let me add some stuff to it so I know it's my track. But who's to say that whoever's presenting them a track or a beat or any type of content that they want Drake to use, who's to say they aren't getting that from another source? And then, you know, and then Drake's blamed, yeah, but he's just taking what's being presented to him. He's just taking what's being put, and I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not trying to back Drake up by any means, but that is a dynamic you can look at it from. I mean, you can't, maybe that's why. Maybe people are understanding and they say, you know what? I like Drake regardless if there's potentially someone feeding him all this stuff.
Yeah.
I just like the image, the act, the overall presence of whatever it is.
Yeah,
Maybe-
but goddamn, I ain't making as much money as him.
And
You know
then
what I'm
again,
saying?
and then again,
Like, that's
at
the
what
thing,
point?
like,
At what point
goddamn,
do you
he's-
get out of that Britney Spears cookie cutter copy of just somebody puts out a trend or a genre, and then there's just one person
Oh,
that does it
Drew?
that
Okay.
much better.
So this
there's
is
just
kinda
one
where I
person
was
that
gonna
does
go.
it that much better, and Drake's the guy right now. He does whatever little trend is out there that
Right.
much better than everybody else, and maybe that's why people like him.
So
Because
that's why
he's just got that name, that presence, that this, that, and people are ignoring the fact that, hey, maybe it isn't authentic,
Right.
but it sounds good now. The people that do like authenticity are the ones that are maybe a little bit more perturbed by it.
So
and a
he's
little
the
bit
top
upset.
meme rapper there is. Top meme rapper. He is the top meme rapper. That being said, darling, I don't believe that, and I think that you got something really going on. I think that with the building your own brand, building your own concept.
Twisting it back. You pointed it out, and you didn't gloat about it, but you made it a point to say, hey, I don't have a team. I do this all my own self. You're a perfectionist, you said. You don't like people tampering in your things. Does it give you any type of, this is just a question that's coming to me now, does it give you any type of like lack of hope or interest, or do you feel that there's roadblocks in your way now, knowing that there's the potential to maybe hit a little bit bigger, come in a little bit hotter when you have a crew behind you or you have a team behind you where you're constantly getting things from different sources? Or do you feel more confident coming into it all alone, all by yourself, because you know you have a hand in everything and it's going to be impactful by your own doing?
I'm confident in myself.
And it shows, and it definitely shows in your music. But again, there's that, hey, maybe I can get a leg up by bringing a team on. Maybe I can get a leg up by having, you know, a couple people in my corner, a couple more riders maybe. There's always that maybe tease, you know? It's kind of like with athletes and performance-enhancing drugs, kind of, you know?
Like, it has crossed my mind. Like, hey,
Right.
what if I just joined, like, if I show my shit to a label, see what happens with it, maybe show my shit to a couple, like, local artists, see if we can collab and do everything together. But at the same time, if I went down that road, I'm not going to lie, I might not enjoy it as much. Because the reason why I started it was because I enjoyed doing this, and I wanted to show people, like, hey, I can make this music, and I enjoy doing this, and I feel like you guys, like, the dream of mine is to get on stage and have everyone just, like, sing my lyrics and not have to do anything.
Right.
That's my, like, when I make music and I, like, think of the end goal, that's what it is. Like, I want people to vibe with the music and feel it, like, really feel it in them, and then just like, sing it back to me. Like,
So this is kind of what, I mean, we've been doing this for a while now, and that's real ideal. It doesn't work. You have to have a full production crew on the end to set up your stage, set up your lighting. There's
like,
so much to it that you do have to start working with other people.
Yeah, I mean,
I was the same way. I was like, man, I could just do this all solo. You know, I don't need anybody to help me.
Not
There's
to derail him. He's not in any way discouraging your approach.
There's a difference.
He's just there is, and I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to pinpoint that difference, because we do work with a lot of artists that do everything themselves. But when they set up shows, they have their team and their people helping them set up, and their crew's there. Yeah, they're an individual artist or a solo artist, but they do have that team that they can rely on when necessary, and you can do it alone. I think what Trent's just trying to point out is there's always the benefit of knowing you can rely on people, because there is going to be a point, and this is something that we, with this entire company and this entire project, are working with and figuring out, that when you can start delegating work and then focusing really on what's important. And as far as music goes, the importance is being creative, being able to be creative, and being able to continuously expand on that creativity. And that means that you're able to just be creative in what you write musically, be creative with your lyrics, be yourself, be honest, be authentic. And I think that's the message to it all. You can do that and still have a team and still delegate the work and still have total creative control over everything, but you're allowed to have more time on your product rather than all the other little necessities that are out there.
Definitely. I mean, when I say the team, well, it's the solo aspect, I'm talking about the music.
Right.
So like, like
You don't want to be in a boy band.
No.
Yeah.
Went from acapella group to solo, right? I wouldn't either. Why?
I always wanted the solo when I was in acapella group. I'm not going to front. Like that's a like.
And you're splitting money 3 or 4 ways. It's not fun, you know.
Like, I do all the music stuff by myself, but once the production, once like say going on stage, like with all that, I definitely need a crew. I'm not gonna lie. Like I can't handle all that by myself. Like even now, like trying to grow my brand, I'm having other people help me. Like run my Instagram sometimes, maybe my Twitter account. Like
we went into your numbers and whatnot, and you know you definitely have a bigger personal brand than your business brand right now. And there's definitely places where we do have seen that you're kind of like slacking back on. I don't know if you know that. I mean, maybe because we don't know much about your timeline. I don't know when you started like YouTube or when you started with your SoundCloud or anything like that. Your SoundCloud is definitely one of your biggest outlets as far as music goes.
Yeah.
But you know, you wouldn't know. There's all different aspects to the thing, and you're working on your brand, and I think that's doing very well. Marketing and advertising will probably be your next step. Being able to get into the next, so that everything that you're doing is kind of linear, and one outlet or one fan base isn't losing out on your work. I think that's the next step for you, because I think so too. There are certain platforms, like I said, SoundCloud's big. Or maybe even taking some of your business stuff and putting it on your Twitter, or not on your Twitter, putting it with your personal. Because your Twitter personal is very large. Your Twitter personal.
Yeah.
You do a lot of tweeting on that.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, I haven't used Twitter in a long time. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Really?
Yeah. At least what I think so. But like, to be honest with you, I've really been growing this brand since January.
Okay.
The beginning of January. Like I really haven't done anything before that. Like I created my Instagram and everything. I created my Twitter separate. All because of I was like, yo, I gotta do this Krish Thursday thing.
Yeah.
And that's when January 1st when I started following people on Instagram on my Krish Records account.
Okay.
And then January 1st.
Well, that's where you reached out to us.
Yeah. That's when I was
very
really
new. Very, very new then.
Yeah.
Like you're not even a month into it.
Yeah.
If you started January 1st.
Yeah, like that January 1st was like, yo, this is the first week I'm going to release this song and let's just get this started.
What I think's interesting, and I think that, I don't know for anybody that's watching that may pick up on this dynamic, but this was kind of a unique position for us, because everybody that we've had on the show prior to this, we've worked with in some capacity, whether it be a show, production, some sort of collaboration before they've come onto this show, right? With you, we just kind of met you through, obviously, our networking, and your music came across as being very unique. It obviously stood out for whatever reason to us, and I think the immediate product that you're putting out, especially since you said you've just started over this last 7-8 months that you've been out in Austin, you have something that definitely grabs attention. It definitely screams, hey, listen to me, play me, whatever it is. Your approach is what I like. When you reference Krish Thursdays, people may not know this, but the goal for that is every Thursday for you to put out a brand new track, right? And that's why you have 4 out now, 1 every week of January. Yeah. Just, kicking it off, getting right out there. What's the next step in that process? That's obviously a goal you're going to keep going here for some time. You're going to be putting out new tracks every single week. every month for how long, and then what's the next step? Do you have plans of putting on like a production and actually doing a live show, maybe doing some type of showcase to introduce Austin to Krish, introduce what you're doing and that style and sound, because you clearly have a good approach as far as getting people to listen to it and getting people to pay attention to it, because you reach out and you network. Now what do people actually get to see, like the entire package?
Yeah, like that's the next step, the marketing aspect. And like I am planning on doing live shows, and like I'm gonna release some music videos soon on YouTube. And I feel like that exposure, the one-on-one exposure, like seeing me actually perform, is huge for a following. Because if they just see my tracks, they're like, all right, he's cool. Unless I have like 100 tracks that are all like bangers, like I gotta like start it off and start marketing myself. And that's what, like, live shows in Austin, like there's this one guy who reached out to me to do South by, and I was like, yo, I'm way too early. Like chill out. Like I need to, like, I don't want to pay.
That speaks though. I think that speaks volumes. Again, you said you're new to it, and somebody's already reaching out to you to try to get some sort of exposure because they see a product that they like or they enjoy. That should let you know, hey, you are dealing with something legit.
Or they're trying to dog you out.
I mean, the same person. I feel like someone that I know. I don't know, Ryan Salata. He's one of the other artists that I know. He and from Austin, and he went to UT. Like he also performed at South by last year, and he was just telling me about it, and it was cool. Like I was like, it's cool, but it's too early. Yeah. Like I want to get my brand and my tracks out and my style of music, and then once people check out one track that they like, they can be like, all right, let me go check this track list out. Then just click on my SoundCloud. They know everything. Click on, so go look me up on Spotify. Go look me up on Apple Music. And that's what I'm building right now. Like I'm building up a separate page and doing all that. Like I already have everything set. Yeah. It's just me just having to put out the content. And obviously the social media following, like all that stuff. It's very granular at this point.
And be consistent.
Yeah, like big. Like once I get to a certain level, it's just having people exposed to my music.
That takes that team.
Yeah, I mean,
I would love to tell you that it doesn't take that team, but building a brand takes a team.
Yeah, I mean,
but it'll come too though. You'll realize it.
It's
You'll
not
realize
just like I say. When I say it takes a team, yeah, it definitely takes a team for the brand. The music.
It's individual.
Yeah.
And it'll come. Because right now your focus is the music. And it's important.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're worried about putting out the things that people are going to listen to and enjoy. You're going to enjoy doing it. Yeah. You're going to enjoy it listening to it. It's organic, authentic. You're not rushing anything. You're not focusing on something else.
Because this is all I do. Otherwise, like, other than like my day job, this is what I do. And like, I like stay up to like 3, 4, 5 a.m. before work. That's crazy. That's
why we do this, man. We do this project right here, and this is for anybody that's listening to, anybody that's watching the live stream. It's to have artists like Krish on to get your work exposure, put it out there.
You guys are awesome.
What's your Spotify page? What is that?
It's just Krish right now.
Krish on, and that's on Spotify. I'm sorry, I meant SoundCloud, but that's on Spotify as well. Okay, and you said SoundCloud. You mentioned SoundCloud being his biggest hit right now. Give everybody your social media. What can they expect out of you? Obviously, every Thursday they got Krish Thursdays, new tracks coming out. Where can they find those?
Yeah.
Where can they keep in touch with everything Krish, your Instagram, your Twitter, but also what do you have to say to people that are watching? What can they expect from Krish? What can they expect from your music? What you're going to bring authentically to the people?
Definitely. Yeah. So you guys can follow me on Instagram, Krish_records. I put all my new releases, all my new stuff out on there, and also I tweet it out and stuff like that. And my Facebook page, Krish Records 734 is where I come from, A2.
Shout out Michigan.
Yeah, shout out Michigan. And I mean, the music that I'm making is more. It comes from my daily experiences and what I've gone through ever since like I've been a teenager, and that just comes out every week through what I'm like. What I feel like, whatever beats I'm making, I'm like, all right, like, what am I feeling at this point? Like, once I make the beat, I'm like, hey, like, what is actually going to make this song click? And then I just go into it and I start writing, and then it just happens. Like, I start mixing it, mastering it, and songwriting is the longest part for me because I don't want to release anything that I don't believe in. So, like, if I release a song, I'm going to be happy with it. And that's basically what you can, like, hope on. Like, you can find me on Spotify and Apple Music with Krish, and Krish Thursdays for the rest of the year. I'm maybe do every 3 Thursdays just because I need to relax for 1 week and maybe just grow my brand for that week. But like,
hey, and that's still a lot. 3 Thursdays out of a month, you're putting out a brand new track. That means you're constantly writing, and you said it right now. That's what you do.
Fuck
day
that.
in and day out.
Every Thursday.
Thursdays are big. Thursday's a big day. You got Austin Live and Local, Common Chaos, Krish doing a new track every Thursday. You got a bunch of shit. Hey, man, you're putting something that we like out there. You're putting something that the people like. Obviously, the responses are there, and we enjoy it. We obviously want to see you get to new heights, and you're gonna reach him, man. We love the product. He's one man taking on the industry, and I like it. And I definitely feel that we're gonna be hearing a lot from you, and appreciate you coming on, man. Anything, Trent? Anything from you?
No, I mean,
Rebecca? No.
There's a couple of things we didn't touch on, but
What was that? How much time we got? What are we at?
We got 3 minutes. We didn't talk about the music industry that much, as far as like the business aspect. We didn't talk about where your university and what you studied and stuff like that. We didn't ask.
Went to the University of Michigan. Studied.
What'd you study?
Studied neuroscience. Minored in business at Ross. Basically it. Like I was about to minor in music, but I just did the business aspect because I got accepted into the program.
Sure, yeah.
So I was like, all right, I can pursue music after I finish school up. So I mean, yeah, music has been my number one passion ever since day one.
Neuroscience, though. Ain't no slouch there, man.
Well, his family,
Yeah.
No, yeah, that is true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I guess. Fits the bill.
But I mean, I'm listening. Do you listen to what's Hanaj? The really famous Indian comedian now.
Aziz Ansari.
No.
Russell Peters?
No, the other one.
Oh, Hassan Minhaj.
Minhaj. He talks a lot about that. How he's
yeah.
highly educated, but then he just told his family he's going to be a comedian.
That's goals right there.
Yeah. No, that's it. I think that it kind of wraps it up.
All right. AustinLiveandLocal.com for all your Austin Live and Local needs. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, ATX LL512 on it's weird. Austin Live and Local. You search Austin Live and Local on everything. It's there. Next Thursday we'll be here. Krish, thank you for coming in, man. We appreciate it. Love it. Yes, we'll be live in the studio next week with G-Jet. He has a show on February 3rd. Which will be the following Saturday. So he's going to be talking about that next week live on the show. This Saturday, the New Wave at the East 6th Street. Joaquin is playing live. He's having a fully installed art show inside the Eastern while he plays his live set. He's also going to have a couple of special features on there, so make sure you look out for that. And yeah, we'll be back next Thursday. Thank you guys.
Later.